Hey, this is Andrew. I'm bringing you another Keyforge deck reveal and review. This is another sealed deck that I'm opening. This one came from my winnings at Uncle's Games when I played Chainbound there and got second place. I got 3 decks, and I've made videos for the first 2. This is the last one. I'm really excited about opening it. There's a little extra special joy that comes from opening something that I had to work for in the game, not just in real life. Yeah, and let's see what we got. Oh, cool. So this is completely different suite of houses than what I got in the last one. And actually, so the last one I opened was Sanctum, Logos, and Shadows. And I'm looking up the first one here that I opened to see. That's not it. That's not it either. Stand by, technical difficulties. No direct, yeah, okay. That one was Brobnar Logos Untamed. So very similar to this, but it had Logos instead of Dees. So, okay. Yeah, so this one is Dees, Untamed, and Brobnar. It's Mentor Malentroth, the Towering Braggart. Wow, this might be a thematic for me deck. I am currently mentoring somebody at work. I've been called a braggart before, although I've been working on it. And wow, this guy looks very, very sinister here and has this little arch thing that who knows what he's going to do with that. That's pretty cool art. All right, so again, you know, these red, I feel less bad about opening the ones with the saggy plastic wrap because I feel like the red ones are actually letting me down. That perforation thing isn't working the way it's supposed to lately, so I'll miss it less. So I think that's the German printer. So, yeah, so this is a Mentor, Malentroth, the Towering Braggart. Yeah, so totally different houses than the last deck I opened. In Dees, I'm hoping for maybe some board control, some interesting Amber generation, maybe a little bit of, not Control the Weak, but maybe some house control. In Untamed, I'm still hoping for Amber generation, but I'm also looking for some cool, you know, just like big creature stuff. And in Brobnar, I'm hoping for board control and maybe some Amber generation. I'm not, between these 3, I'm not really expecting much Amber control, which is interesting. So we'll see if I prove wrong on that. But that's most likely to be a problem with a deck with these 3 houses, is that it just might not have enough Amber control. We'll see. All right, let's start. Brobnar, we got Bingle Bang Bang, 2-power goblin that before the fight does 5 damage to each neighbor of the creature it's fighting. This is fantastic for board control. Just a really, really fun card, and I love just I guess there's like an implicit contradiction in such a low power creature doing so much damage, and I love that about it. And you know, of course, Bingle Bang Bang is probably not going to survive the fight, but that's kind of cool. Bramo is a 4-power giant knight with 1 armor, who on play does 2 damage to each enemy flank creature. That can be quite good occasionally, sometimes, just depends on the circumstances. Drummernaut is a 6-power giant with a play, fight, and reap ability that says return another friendly giant creature to your hand. No, that's not what it says here. Yeah, it's been errated. So it actually is supposed to say return another friendly giant creature to your hand, which in this case could be the Bramo. That's kind of cool. That's a cool effect. Do something with the Bramo, pop it back to hand, play it, deal that 2 damage again. You know, rinse, repeat. That'd be pretty cool. First Blood is an action with a bonus Amber and Alpha, so it has to be the first thing we do on step 3. And the play effect is deal 2 damage for each friendly Brobnar creature, and you can divide this damage among any number of creatures. Good if you can keep the creatures on the board. So far, I haven't seen that work out a lot, but could. Oh, we have Ganger Chieftain. So Ganger Chieftain is a 5-power giant whose play effect is you may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. And there is a cool combo that people have discovered here, where if you have the Drummernaut and the Ganger Chieftain, you let's say your second player and it's turn 1, you can play the Drummernaut, play the Ganger Chieftain, you ready the Drummernaut, you can let's say you fight with the Drummernaut in this case. Well, when you fight, you return Ganger Chieftain to your hand, play it again, ready. This time your opponent probably doesn't have a creature out. You can reap, return Ganger Chieftain to your hand, play Ganger Chieftain again, ready Drummernaut, reap, return this to your hand. At some point, at this point when you play this readies, and after the 6th time that you've used the Drummernaut, then you can't do it again. So at some point, it stops bouncing the Ganger Chieftain. But if you played the Ganger Chieftain 6 times, you can't play it a 7th either. So you're going to hit the rule of 6 if you get that combo. Okay. Oh, and we have 2 Ganger Chieftains. That's cool. That makes us more likely to hit that combo. That's cool. A 3rd Ganger Chieftain. Oh, this is good. This is really promising. So part of why I'm really excited about this, about having 3 Ganger Chieftains, is just that it speeds up Brobnar so much to be able to get a creature out and do something with it right away. So oh my gosh, how is this possible? 4 Ganger Chieftains. That's so cool. Okay. Nope. Okay. Then we have a Groke, which is a 5-power giant whose fight effect is your opponent loses an amber. That's also quite good. And you can imagine a scenario where you fight with this, you use Ganger Chieftain to fight with it again, you reap with Drummernaut, pop the Groke back into your hand, play another Ganger Chieftain. I don't know. There's cool combos to be had in this set of creatures that I've seen so far. Kolf the Quiet is atypical for a Brobnar giant in that he has elusive. He's a 6-power giant with elusive. It's kind of meant to just be a little silly, and it's fine. We have Grunt Buggy. I got another Grunt Buggy. I get so many decks with this. Grunt Buggy, but it is an uncommon, so it shouldn't be totally shocking. But Grunt Buggy is an artifact with a bonus amber, and it says your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each friendly creature with power 5 or higher, and your keys cost +1 amber for each enemy creature with power 5 or higher. So it works out to be a good deal if you have more big creatures in board control than your opponent, which, this is pretty promising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 creatures in Brobnar that meet that specification. And the last Brobnar deck I opened, I think the biggest problem with it was not two ago, I guess. The last one I opened and sealed. The biggest problem I had with it was it had great cards but not enough creatures. So this is exciting. And we have another creature, another 5-power creature. This is Bilgum Avalanche, who is rare and 5-power, a giant also. And says after you forge a key, deal 2 damage to each enemy creature. That is pretty cool as well. So, that means if we forge, we kind of spray the board. There's just a decent chance that we're maintaining board control at that point, and some game control as well, right? Because we're really stunting our opponent's ability to get stuff done. All right, let's look at these. We have Coal the Weak, which is an action with a bonus amber that says destroy the least powerful enemy creature. Okay, I don't know that we need it with all that Brobnar, but it could still be okay. Misery Exploit is going to gain an amber for each damaged enemy creature. And again, with the Brobnar spread we have, I think there's a good chance we've just been blowing them up instead of doing damage to them. But it could fire. Maybe if we get 1 out of this, I'm okay with it. Streak. This is potentially very good given the board control that we're likely to have. It's a 2-power creature with elusive. It's an imp, and when Streak is not on a flank, so it has to be in the middle of other creatures, your opponent refills their hand to 1 less card during their draw card step. So it's like Succubus, but it has to be in the middle of stuff. It doesn't just automatically work. And it is 2-power, but it has elusive. I'm going to pause for a second. And we're back. I got drafted at the last minute to play some softball. So here I am, and yeah, we just covered, we're three cards into these. So let's pick up where we left off, which for you was right just a second ago. Next we have Tesmal, which is a 2-power imp with elusive. And when Tesmal reaps, you choose a house, and your opponent can't choose that house as their active house on their next turn. Then we have an Unlocked Gateway. It's an action card that's Omega, which means after you play it, that ends your step 3. And when you play it, you destroy each creature. I don't think... We'll see. I don't think we'll probably get a lot of use out of this with the Brobnar that's in play, but we'll see. We have a Life Ward. That could be quite useful. It's an artifact with a bonus amber, and it has the Omni ability. You sacrifice it, and your opponent cannot play creatures on their next turn. Really good for keeping that board control. Scullion is really good news because it fits really well with Grunt Buggy. So far, I've had pretty good luck getting good support cards in other houses for Grunt Buggy, so this is good. Scullion, when you play it, you have to sacrifice a friendly creature, which now if you it could include itself. So if you don't have other creatures on the board, then after you play Scullion, you immediately have to sacrifice it, which is probably not what you want. But the Streaker, the Tesmal, I guess you could get rid of to do that. But it's 7 power and 2 armor, and that's pretty big. It's really big. Oh, we have Spider, which is a 2-power demon. It has Skirmish, and it has poison while it's attacking an enemy flank creature. Oh, sweet. That's good. Wow, how far in are we here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to have one more rare after this. Yeah, okay. So we have Ortanu, the Chained. When Ortanu reaps, you return each copy of Ortanu's Binding from your discard pile to your hand. So Ortanu comes with 2 copies of Ortanu's Binding, which is an action card with a bonus amber that says play, deal 2 damage to a friendly creature. So the idea is you play these, you get the amber, you deal 2 damage to your own creatures, which is a little weird. But then when Ortanu reaps, you return these from your discard pile to your hand, and for each one that you returned, you deal 2 damage to a creature with 2 splash. So let's say Ortanu's on the board and you have both of these in your hand. You play them, you get 2 amber, and you deal 2 damage to your own creatures. Then you reap with Ortanu. You get these back, you do 2 damage with 2 splash twice on the other side of the board, and then you can play these again. So you've done a total of 8 damage to your own creatures, probably 12 damage to the enemy creatures, and gotten 5 amber. It's a pretty crazy turn. And then lastly, oh, we have another huge creature in Dees, Overlord Grekking. Overlord Grekking is a 7-power demon, and after an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Overlord Grekking, you put that creature into play under your control. Man, that's a lot of big creatures in here. So, wow, that's fun. All right. And what do we have left? We have Untamed. So, Untamed, we're going to start with Darna. This is a 2-power Elf Witch with the play effect, gain 1 amber for each damaged friendly creature. And wow, between like doing a lot of fighting with Brobnar and the Scullion and Grekking and the Ortanu's Binding, I can see there being a lot of damaged creatures out on the board for Darna to come out and get a bunch of amber from. So that could be a really good amber burst effect in this deck. And then when Darna reaps, you heal 2 damage from a friendly creature. Oh, wow, we have a Dusk Witch. Dusk Witch is a 1-power human witch with Omega and elusive. So the only thing that makes Dusk Witch a little bit hard to kill is that elusive. But it's Omega, so when you play it, that's the end of your turn. But it makes your creatures interplay ready. So if you can set up a situation where Dusk Witch survives into the next turn, you're going to have a power turn, especially in such a creature-heavy deck. The next turn is just going to be out of control. It's hard to imagine, especially in a deck like this, a turn where Dusk Witch stays on the board and then the game's not pretty much over. It just seems like it should be at that point. Okay, we have Full Moon, which is an action that says for the remainder of the turn, you gain an amber each time you play a creature. So far, the only other things we've seen in Untamed so far are creatures, so that's promising. We have Glimmer. Glimmer is a 1-power fairy with alpha, which means it has to be the first thing you play on your turn. And when you play Glimmer, you return a card from your discard pile to your hand. And yeah, there's good targets for that. I mean, if we have a lot of damaged creatures, we might decide to do the Darna. If we're hoping to get the Dusk Witch to stick on the board, we might pull it back out. There's a lot of good options. Grovekeeper is a 3-power human witch, and at the end of your turn, you give each of its neighbors a +1 power counter. So this starts to build your creature's strength up, which can turn some of your 2s into 5s over enough time, which is pretty cool, or just make your 5s really big. Nox is a 3-power beast, but it gets +3 power for each neighbor it has, so you really want it to be in the middle of the board, and if it's sandwiched between 2 other creatures, it's a 9-power beast, which is crazy. We have Regrowth, which is an action with a bonus amber that returns a creature from your discard pile to your hand. Another good way to recur that Dusk Witch, or the Darna. There's good options here. Rusnar is a 4-power beast, an insect, that has the fight ability to destroy an artifact. If that artifact had an amber bonus, you gain that much amber. So this has to survive the fight for that to trigger, but this can be really effective amber control. And with 4 Ganger Chieftains, like you can put this down on an Untamed turn and then go Brobnar the next turn and still maybe get a use out of it. And I wouldn't mind having this next to that Grovekeeper so that it's getting stronger over time too. And we have 2 of them. That's fantastic. We have a Song of Spring. This is an action with a bonus amber that says you shuffle any number of friendly untamed creatures from your hand, discard pile, or battle line back into your deck. Why would you want to shuffle something from your battle line back into your deck? Well, with some of these cards, like Glimmer or maybe even the Darna, they have these strong play abilities, and you'd like to see those come into your hand again, even if they're not being destroyed. We have a Tantadlin, which definitely counts for Grunt Buggy. This is a 9-power tree. It only deals 2 damage when it's fighting, but when it fights, you discard a random card from your opponent's archives. So this is a good way to deal with Logos and Mars shenanigans. Notice everything to this point is common, so let's see what we got here. We got an uncommon Nepenthe Seed, which is an artifact that has Omni sacrifice it to return a card from your discard pile to your hand. So, I mean, looking through here, I feel like we have a high creature count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 creatures. So a full 2/3 of the deck are creatures. A lot of them are, going to work for the Grunt Buggy. So that's strong amber control possibilities there. Even more of them could because of the Grovekeeper, although I wouldn't bank on that. We have Nepenthe Seed to bring stuff back, Song of Spring 2, Regrowth, and Glimmer. And I really think if that Dusk Witch hits and sticks, the enemy is in trouble. Now, the best thing we have going for us that might make it stick is being able to do strong board control in any of these houses, really followed up with a life ward, and then the only way they could do anything about her is if they have a if they have spot damage, which there's a lot of, but who knows. Anyway, yeah, this seems pretty good. I'm really excited to try this one, and again, it is something I won at an event, so that's pretty cool as well. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and that you get out and forge some keys. Thanks.